One wrong 401k move can wipe out decades of savings, but it doesn't need to be that way. In the next 60 seconds, I'll show you that there are really only three choices that matter: leave it, roll it, or Roth it. And I'll share exactly which one to pick if you want to keep control and experience retirement on your terms. Hello, I'm Jason Byans, and I build retirement plans every week. And you'll want to stay to the end to understand when it makes sense to do more than one of these. Okay, so we're going to look at the first choice, which is when it may make sense to leave part of your 401k where it's at. And that is if you're younger than 59 and a half. So, with a lot of retirement accounts, if you pull money out before you're 59 and a half, you can be hit with a 10% early withdrawal penalty. So it may make sense to leave a portion of your 401k with your current employer so that you can pull money out before you're 59 and a half and oftentimes avoid that 10% penalty. Now remember, this is tax deferred money, so you can't get around paying the taxes on that withdrawal from your 401k, but you may be able to avoid that 10% early withdrawal penalty. And there is something else I want you to be careful of. With some 401k plans, you can only pull out partial amounts while you're still working. After you've left the company, you can either leave the whole thing there or you have to take the whole thing out. Okay. So that's something to understand, and you'll want to get with your HR administrator to understand the terms of your 401k. Okay. So another reason you may want to look at leaving your 401k where it is, or at least a portion of it, is if you own company stock. And if you own company stock inside of your 401k plan, there's a special transfer that you need to be aware of. Okay, so if you own company stock inside of your 401k, you may want to use a special transfer which can help to save you on taxes on your company stock. And what it's called is NUA, or net unrealized appreciation. And here's the deal with net unrealized appreciation. That company stock you own within your 401k, it may make sense to leave it there until you're ready to make this transfer, because when you make that transfer, you can sometimes have the option for this to be taxed, the gains to be taxed as capital gains, not to be taxed at ordinary income rates, which can a lot of times be higher. So you want to understand what is your tax bracket, and you want to understand the tax status of your company stock within your 401k, because it may make sense to leave it there until you're ready to make this very strategic move. Okay, so those are two reasons to consider leaving part of your 401k with your current employer. Now let's go over to our second choice, which is to roll it. Before we go to number two, I want to invite you to click the link below, and we'd love to send you a free copy of my brother Justin's book, Designed to Last. At the back of this book, there are questions, the most important questions that you and your family should be asking during this period of time. So click the link below. We'd love to send you a free copy of that book. So one of the main reasons you would want to consider rolling your 401k into something like an IRA is because it can really open up your investment options. Because here's the thing, when your money is with a 401k, a lot of times it's a limited toolbox. A lot of times it's just a set number of funds that you have the option to invest in. But if we roll it into an IRA, it opens up a much, much bigger toolbox. And you see, we really want a big toolbox in retirement so that we can build a financial house, so that we can build a retirement plan that is going to sustain our income, that's nimble, and has a lot of options. Okay, the next reason you would want to consider rolling a 401k into an IRA is the flexibility that it provides. And you may be asking me, Jason, what do you mean by flexibility? Well, if you keep your 401k with your current employer, a lot of times you're limited in terms of transfers, the timing of those. You have a lot of flexibility when it comes to an IRA. And this is especially true when you have to take something called RMDs, or required minimum distributions. So this is something when you turn age 73 where you have to take out money. The federal government says, hey, you put money away in this IRA and you haven't paid us taxes on it. So we're going to make you take it out so that you pay us taxes. Well, we want to be able to do that on our terms. We want to do that at the best tax time that we can. Something else that we may want to take advantage of is something called QCDs, or qualified charitable distributions. Now, if you're charitably inclined, if you give to a church or to a charity, it may make sense to actually move right from your IRA to that church or charity, because then you can satisfy your RMD and then you can also get some tax savings. And I want to give you one bonus strategy that not a lot of people know about. And it has to do with moving from an IRA. So after it was at your 401k, rolling it to an IRA, and then rolling a portion of that to what's called an HSA. An HSA is a health savings account. And the beautiful thing is you owe taxes on your IRA. Well, you can move it into an HSA, a health savings account, and then you can use that to pay for medical expenses. And you do that all tax free. Okay, so this isn't an exhaustive list of the reasons why, but those are some of the high points in terms of when it makes sense to roll your 401k into an IRA. And then we come to our third and final choice, which is Roth it. And you may ask me, what are you talking about when you say Roth it, Jason? Well, what I'm talking about is moving from a tax deferred account like your 401k or like an IRA and moving it into a tax free account, which in this example is a Roth. Now, I want you to be careful again. If you were to roll a 401k directly into a Roth, so a lot of these times, these 401k plans have very specific stipulations about transfers and about withdrawals, how many times a year that you can do them, or if you can do them over multiple years. So, a lot of times, what we want to do is move from a 401k, roll it over into an IRA, and then we pick up that flexibility. Then we can talk about a Roth conversion, going from our IRA to our Roth IRA. Now, why would we want to roll from an IRA into a Roth IRA? Well, the reason has to do with taxes. You see, if you do proper tax planning now, whenever you roll from an IRA into a Roth IRA, you're going to pay ordinary income taxes. But as long as you adhere to the guidelines, that money in your Roth can grow and grow and grow and grow. And then when you pull that money out, it's tax free. Now, that's not the only reason you may want to consider a Roth, which is a pretty good one, right? We all want to try to save money in taxes. The other reason you may want to do this is you can help save taxes for your heirs. Now, some of you may be saying, Jason, I don't care if my kids have to pay taxes on the money that I'm going to leave them. But we do know a lot of people that say, I actually want to be the most tax efficient that I can because, my kids, they're in their high income earning years. It may make sense for you to do a Roth conversion now because your income rates are lower, because you'll end up leaving your children more, so less goes to the IRS. And for all you married couples out there, this is a really, really important point. When I say heirs, I don't just mean your children. This can also be your surviving spouse. And it may make sense to do a Roth conversion, to Roth it, because you can save money on taxes. And how can that be? Well, if you consider rolling, let's say, your IRA to a Roth IRA, you get to pay married filing jointly rates. Because you're married, you get those married filing jointly rates, which are better rates than single filer rates. Well, think about this. After one of you passes away, that surviving spouse is going to receive that IRA. At that point, they're going to have to file at single filer rates, which are higher income tax rates. So it may make sense to do a Roth conversion to Roth it so that you can save money and especially your surviving spouse. Okay, so a quick recap. You may want to leave part of your 401k if you're younger than 59 and a half and if you own company stock. You may want to consider rolling your 401k into, say, an IRA because it gives you a much, much bigger toolbox, provides flexibility, and it's even got some bonus features in terms of transfers. And then lastly, you may want to consider Rothing it or doing a Roth conversion because it can save money on taxes, not just for you, but for your heirs, your children, or your spouse. I hope that this was helpful, and I want to invite you to click this video here where I go over one of the questions we hear most often, where to pull funds from first in retirement.